Hello, how are you today? I was going to say good evening, but I still don't know when they're going to broadcast these shows, whether it's going to be daytime or nighttime. They haven't told us yet. This is episode 3, and I'm so glad if you've rejoined us, if you've been watching the other 2 and you're back to see us again. If not, if this is the first time you're seeing us, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, beautiful downtown Evergreen Park. My friend John allowed us to use his shoe store. We like to use a little variety. And it's apropos we're here. I mean, after all, this show dealing with theology, we'll talk about the soul. And when we get into deeper theology, whether tongue is relevant. Tongues, is it for today? This shoe says it is. So we'll get a chance to talk about that. So I hope you continue to join us. We appreciate your support. If you ever have a question that you want to get to me, Sage725 at Yahoo. Send me a question. I'll read it on the air, and I will answer it on the air if I'm able. And so please feel free to do that. I did show you a book a couple weeks ago that I encourage you to get as we talk about theology later on in this series. And it's called Basic Theology by Dr. Charles Ryrie. Great book. It's so important that you understand basic theology if you're a Christian so that you can share more effectively with people. They're going to have questions about who God is, who Jesus is, how come Jesus seems to be a man in one instance and God in another, the hypostatic union. So it's important, and I'd like you to get that book. I'm going to show you some other books as we go along. I like to recommend books. I love books. I love to read. And Basic Theology by Charles Ryrie, if you get a chance. So if you have a question, please send it in. This ministry, Down to Earth Ministries, a couple charities I want to just bring to your attention here that I'm really gung-ho about supporting, and one is Pacific Garden Mission, and I hope to have one of the administrators from PGM come in and do a show with us sometime in the next month or 2. It's a wonderful ministry. I highly support it. They are reputable. They have integrity. The work they do is phenomenal, and they need help. Their water bill alone was like $250,000 a year because everybody that comes through those doors that's homeless, they get an opportunity to take a shower. Their water bill is astronomical. I've been there. I've taught and played there, and I highly recommend if you can help them out. I don't make a lot of money. I give them a small pittance every month, but I do it faithfully to help them. So I encourage you to support that ministry. It's phenomenal. The oldest homeless shelter in America. Also, Southside Pregnancy Center. I'm big on them. And if you're in the churches in our area around here in the Evergreen Park, Oak Lawn, Chicago, south side of Chicago area, another very great ministry to help. You know, young girls come in, young women, they're pregnant. Sometimes they don't want the baby, or they're afraid because they can't afford the baby. And the fact is, this ministry will help them tremendously. So please, Southside Pregnancy Center, they just moved to a new location here in Evergreen. If you get a chance and you can help them, please do that. Interesting, just from the 2 previous shows, we've had people contact us looking for Celebrate Recovery groups. I mentioned them in one of our shows, a Christ-centered 12-step group. And because I shared about my background of decades as a heroin, crack, PCP addict, I cannot attest to how important it is to have that support and that family unity that goes with those groups, and I highly recommend them, okay? I did mention about 12-step groups. I'm for them. This is a non-Christ-centered 12-step group. It's good to get clean and sober so that you can think clearly, and then we can share the gospel with you and get you saved. So those are some of the things I wanted to open up with. Why am I here in front of you? I'm a sinner saved by grace. I am nothing special, but one of the things is I will open my mouth. God needs you to open your mouth in order for him to use you. And I get contacted a lot of times by Christians who are scared to witness and this and that. And that's why I want you to learn basic theology. That's why we're going to spend some time teaching that subject on this show as we get a little bit along the way. And you got to open your mouth. I'm willing to open my mouth, and because of that. And I studied a little bit to know a little bit of what I'm talking about, and that's a tremendous help. You got to open your mouth if you want and share. If you're going to heaven, take somebody with you. And so that's important. So I'm up here, Paul wrote to Timothy that Paul said, I'm chief sinner. Well, Paul was an amateur. He's an amateur. I'm chief sinner. I'm the president of this club with issues. The Issue Club, I'm president and CEO of the Issue Club. I have more issues than National Geographic and People magazine put together. Okay? And so the fact is, I have issues and God still uses me. Don't let the devil lie to you and say, well, you're not ready to witness to people. You got this in your life. No, open your mouth and start talking. The fact is, when you got saved, the devil didn't put his tail between his leg and walk away quietly defeated. No, you're going to have more issues, and you're going to have more obstacles and more contention in your life now that you're a Christian. Well, before you got saved, the devil didn't have to mess with you too much. Now that you are saved, he can't stop you from going to heaven. But what he can do is try and cause you to be ineffective. Don't believe that lie. God has called you for a purpose to use you in this boundary that you're surrounded by. We are to be salt and light into the world. Let me share some stuff with you. Well, how do I share Christ? The situation. Let me share some things that happened to me. Things happen all the time. I was in the Wendy's in South Holland not too long ago. And I went in there, sat down with my case, my Bible. I'm going to read. And as I'm studying, a young man comes walking by. He works there. And he was going on his lunch break. As he walks by, he sees me reading the Bible. This is why I encourage you, if it's something that works for you, go out in public, go to Dunkin' Donuts, go to McDonald's, go wherever. I'm in Wendy's in this particular instance, and I'm reading the Bible. He walks by and says, oh, you're reading the Bible. I'm interested in that. I says, you are? Come on, sit down. He sits down. And I start to share with him about God. He says, I want that. I just don't know how to do it. And him and I, right then and there, he received Christ on his lunch break in Wendy's in South Howland. I mean, all I did was reading a Bible, and that opened the door as he walked by. God had been, you share with people and you don't see no results. Don't worry about it. Pray for them, okay? One plants, another, what's the word I want, Bob? One plants, one waters, but God gives the increase. So this young man people had been planting seed in his life. Others had shared with him and watered that seed. And God brings him by and blesses me. He sits down, and within 45 seconds, he's going, I want that. And he received Christ right then and there. Praise God. We're light, and we are salt and light in the world. And all you got to do is open your mouth. And there I was reading my Bible, and this young man will now go to heaven. His sins are forgiven. Praise God. I walked into Murray's Auto Parts when they were still open. And I got some items for my car. I'm in the checkout lane, and I buy something. She gives me change. I go heading out the door, and I suddenly realize I'm counting my change and realize she gave me $10 too much. Well, you got that devil, you got a little demon sitting here going, that's okay, it's only $10, head out to the car. And then that angel here going, no, you can't do that, you can't do that. You know that analogy? And so, but I wasn't listening to either of them. I don't need to. You know why? I already know in my heart what I'm supposed to do. I turned around and went back to find the young lady who took my order. And as I see her, she's talking to two other employees, two males, over by the oil. And I walk over to her and I says, young lady, I got to let you know that you gave me $10 too much change, and because I'm a Christian, I have to honor my Lord and be honest with you. And the two guys, of course, start laughing. They start mocking that. Well, praise God. That's a blessing to me. Mock me all you want for my Christianity. Praise God. And you know what happened? She starts crying. She starts bawling. And I'm thinking, my goodness, what did I do? And her and I start walking back to the cash register. And she says, you won't believe this. You're my angel. She says, I just went to church last week for the first time, and I prayed, I need help, and are there people that really benefit from this? And she said, I'm crying out to God, I need help, and I want to understand this. And what happens? You walk up and tell me that because you're a Christian, because she said that would have come out of my pay. And we started talking. I gave her my phone number, shared with her some more about Jesus Christ. What did I do? I was simply honest and went back and says, here, I got to give you this money back. And you know what? If I would have just gave her the money and says, because I'm an honest guy, that's self-righteousness. Just like I don't help poor people on the street and just give them money and then walk away going, oh, I'm a good guy. No, I always want to give them a tract. I want to say this is from the Lord, because you know what? I'm here to exalt Christ, not myself. Try and have that attitude when you do stuff. I'm at Guitar Center buying something for my guitars. By the way, I got 35 videos. I've written close to 50 or 100 songs. I lost track count, but you can see some of those songs on my YouTube channel. You just go to my name, Stephen Sage. I'm at Guitar Center at the register. The guy's ringing me up, and I says, hey, let me ask you a question. What do you think about this God thing? You know, do you think there's a God? He goes, no God, and not only that, but the Bible's a fraud. I says, really? Let me know. Tell me why. He said, well, for one thing, he says, doesn't say anything about dinosaurs, and we know there's dinosaurs. I said, well, wait a second. I says, you know, the Bible does make some mentions about behemoths and these critters with giant tails, and you know, it could be a certain types of animals we have today. But I says, the fact is, on day 6 of creation, God created what? Man and animals. And it just so happens we know dinosaurs existed. Therefore, it's axiomatic that God created dinosaurs on the 6th day. But he had believed the lie, whether someone told him that and he bought into it. He's been perpetrating this lie, you know, for who knows how long. And as long as I'm here, let me correct you, young man, okay? If you're going to learn a subject or going to speak about a subject, it's really important you know what you talk about. So let me ask you a question. Do you know where in the Bible where it says that there are no dinosaurs? No. Okay, did I just explain we know dinosaurs exist and therefore God created them on the 6th day? Okay, at least the ones that walk on the ground, you know, if they flew, that's a different thing. But he said, well, okay, I guess you're right, you know, in that respect. But see, I corrected him about something. I got him thinking, but all I did was bring up God, and I gave him a track and went on my merry way. And I prayed for him. That's why I said, when you share with people, if you don't see results, don't blow that off and think, well, nothing happened. No, that's not true. I'll tell you why. I got a phone call 2 days ago from a gentleman that I met in a McDonald's as I was reading the Bible going back 4 years ago. And he said, hey, you're reading the Bible. Can I talk to you? He sat down, shared with stuff going on with him and his wife. And I gave him one of these booklets back then. I carry all kinds of stuff in my car. You won't believe what I carry. Videos and books and everything to pass out. And I gave him one of these booklets. We talked. I gave him tracts. I gave him a book, not just a booklet, some books. And we kept in touch the next few weeks after that. He came to class. He came to my Bible class. He came to church. He even got his wife to come. And then all of a sudden, he kind of dropped out of sight. I didn't see him for quite a while. And he calls me up out of I haven't heard from him for 2 years. He calls me up out of the clear blue sky, wants to thank me for the input that I had in his life, and thank me for giving him this little booklet. He said this little booklet changed his life. And now I'm going to explain to you how you can get this booklet. If you want this booklet, I want you to email me, and I'll see that you get it. If you're a Christian, then you can order these in packs of 3 from CBD. Let me recommend Christian Book Distributors to you. You can get them. It's $5 for 3 of them. I carry them in my car, and I'll tell you why. This booklet is entitled, Since Nobody's Perfect, How Good is Good Enough by Andy Stanley. 99% of people that I talk to on the street who don't belong to a cult, you know, that I encounter them all the time. But if they're simply God-believing people, many of them are confused. And confused in this sense. They think that to get to heaven, what God does is he balances our good and bad. And I blow their mind when I let them know that being good has nothing to do with going to heaven. Absolutely nothing. Because there is none righteous, no, not one. And this book completely messes with their idea that if I do good, and more good than I do bad, I'm going to make it okay. The fact is, this booklet is tremendous for that. That's why I carry it. Much of America is misled about this, misled about God and what it means to get to heaven, how we get there, and that if I just simply do enough good, then I'm okay, you know. And I've been a lot gooder than I have been badder, so therefore I'm going to make it. That's a fallacy. And this booklet really discusses that. So if you get a chance, if you don't have this booklet, if you don't know the Lord, contact me. I'll see that you get a copy. Christians, if you want, you can buy those. They're really good to have. Keep 3 of them in your car, or keep 1 in your Bible. If you meet somebody that gives you this response about if I'm just good enough, then we can get it on. Let me share something with you. I've shared over the past 2 episodes my life getting involved, because of something that happened to me as a youth, and the kinkier the sex and the more drugs I could get, I tried to self-medicate and help myself deal with society and stuff that had happened to me. I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been a thief and a con man, a fraud, a ripoff. I've been there. Now, thank God, I'm not there no more. So I'm grateful for that. However, I want to help educate you, if you're a Christian, about helping people. This is important, okay? And I've learned it the hard way. And I've also been the one who has ripped people off. So like I say, I've been on both sides of the fence. And that is this. We as Christians, we want to help people. I wanted to help people when I wasn't a Christian. I was brought up with 2 parents who were helpful to others, and so I learned that as a child, and that's a good thing. We want to help people, but we don't want to be an enabler. The fool and his money are soon parted. It's an old Middle Ages saying, and the fact is that we want to help people, and I want you to be wiser when you help people. I'll tell you why. I was in Dunkin' Donuts reading my Bible on a Wednesday. I do it quite often, and there's always a group. Nice people. They just come from church in the south side of Chicago. They're Catholics, and they come, and there's like 9 of them. And they come and sit at their table, and I overhear what they're talking when I'm right behind them. And I'm sitting there studying. This is going back about 2 months ago. I'm sitting there studying, and I hear someone talking to them, and I know it's. And I look in my peripheral vision. It's a guy, and he's standing there saying, "Hey, you got any money? I need to take a bus." And right away, man, I jump to attention because I'm very familiar with these scams. And I turn around and talk. I go, "Excuse me, what is it you need money for?" "Oh, I need money for a bus, And I says, "Where are you going to?" Well, he gives me a destination, and I say, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll wrap up here. I'll take you." "Oh, no, that's all right. I just need the money." So I'm talking to him. As I'm talking to him, one of the gentlemen sitting there goes in his pockets and hands him some money. I forget if it was a 10 or a 20. Hands him money, and the guy's out the door. And I looked at these people and said, "Listen, I got experience at this. I was a drug addict. I did this kind of stuff. I wish you wouldn't have done that. And I said, just talking to him briefly, I said, I offered to give him a ride. You can see that it's fraudulent. "Oh, I just wanted to help the guy." I says, "Well, I'm sure you did. And you know what? God bless you for it. Your heart's in the right place, but you weren't thinking right because," and I explained to him the reason why. Because you just can't just help people blindly because there's frauds and ripoffs out there. And with about 10 minutes later, when he goes and leaves Dunkin' Donuts, he heads down a side street, nowhere going towards where he supposedly needed to get to. And then 5 minutes later, someone goes, "Hey, look!" And there he is, driving by in a BMW, going on his way. It's like, see what I mean? I've been on both sides. Listen, I used to be the guy carrying the gasoline can. "Hey, can you help me? I need gas." When someone comes up to me now and asks for gas, I'll say, "Come on, I'll go get you gas." And they're usually, "Oh, no, that's all right." If they're frauds, "Oh, no, that's all right." And they say, "Well, I don't know you to get in the car with you." "That's all right, give me the gas can. I'll go get you gas, wait right here, I'll bring it back to you." "Well, why should I don't know if I can trust you with my can." Wait a minute, you want me to entrust you and give you money? You can't trust me with a $2.99 gas can? The point is, I'm willing to help them, but show me that you're legit. Now, I used to sidetrack that. When I did the gasoline can thing, I would pull the coil wire out of my car in case she went back with me to my car. "Let me see, does your car start?" And it wouldn't start. And then, I'd pull the coil wire out. But I'm smarter than most people in that respect. I was a very shrewd con man. The fact is, I don't buy them gas. I give them money for gas. I don't want to be an enabler. I'll take you and get gas. It's amazing. All of a sudden, they don't want it. When I was at staff at a church in Blue Island, had a guy come to the door. It was my day off, and I was there finishing up some stuff. I answered the door. He says, "Oh, can you help me? Last night, I was here with my buddies. Over the weekend, we partied and stuff. I wake up, they took off and left me." I says, "Well, what is it you want from me?" "Well, if you could, I just need a Greyhound bus ticket to get to Milwaukee. That's just, And I says, "Yeah, how much is that?" "Oh, I forget what he said. It was $39 or something." I said, "Tell you what, this is your lucky day." I says, "I'm off work today. I got a new car, and I like driving, and it's only 90 minutes. I said, "I'll take you to Milwaukee." "No problem." "Oh, can't do that. I don't know who you are." No problem there either. The police know me in Blue Island. I'm in church here, and I do social work here. No problem. I says, we'll call the Blue Island police. They'll come out. They'll document you're leaving with me and who you're leaving with. All the whole thing, 9 yards. And I will be happy to take you to Milwaukee. And what do I hear? Oh, I'll tell you what. I got one more option. Let me see what I can do. No, he all of a sudden he didn't want it. You see what I mean? He didn't want to ride. I get people come up to me and say, you got some bus change for the bus? I'll tell you what, come on, I'll put you on the bus. Well, I'm not going to get on right now, but later on today I says, well, I'm sorry. If you want to get on the bus, I'll put you on the bus. There in Blue Island, because I was attended 2 churches there for about 8 years or so. There was a guy who's infamous. I won't tell you his name. Drug addict, alcoholic. Sometimes he's homeless, sometimes people let him stay at the house overnight. He comes stumbling. I went to McDonald's, 119th and Western. It is 6 o'clock in the morning. You remember from a previous show, I studied for 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I would get there at 6 in the morning when they opened. And he comes stumbling past me at 6 in the morning, and all disabled, of course. And he says, hey, I need $1 for a hamburger. Okay, I'm heading to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And he heads right for the bathroom. Well, I know the guy. His name's Phil. And what happens? He comes back and he says, you got the $1 for me? I said, sit down, I want to talk to you. Okay. Now, this guy, he hangs outside Walgreens a lot of times at 119th and Western, at other places up and down Western. He goes in stores asking for money. This guy usually has more money on him than I do from begging. And he would, stands outside Walgreens there, from 6 in the evening until 10, and he gets 40 to 60 more, and then he heads out onto the town and buys a bottle of wine and some $10 bags of crack, and he parties all night long. Now he's going to stumble into McDonald's at 6 in the morning and say to me he wants $1 for a hamburger because he's hungry. And when he sat down, I said, let me tell you something. I'm not going to be your enabler. When you're out bumming money like you do, you take $2 or $3 and put it in your wallet and leave it there, okay? Because you're wasting money, and now you want to come in and capitalize on me and my kind heart and being a Christian, okay? But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be an enabler for you. So I'm going to buy you food now, but don't come in and do that again, because I know you made a bunch of money last night and blew it. And that's why you're in the situation you're in. Most people, I won't say most, but a lot of people that are in a homeless situation and other things are there because of their own choices, their own sin. I was homeless for almost 2 years because of my own sin. I had no one else to blame for it except me. And I want you to be wise. We want to help people. We want to make sure that we help those that are in need. When the Bible, well, you're not a Christian, you don't help people. Listen, I'm supposed to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove, and I want to help you, but I'm not going to let you make a fool out of me. I'm not going to be an enabler and supply your habits. If I wanted to do that, I still have my own habits that you could supply, that I could supply my own money for. The fact is, I'm not going to be an enabler for you. I will help you for legitimate needs. When Jesus says help people and help the poor, he's talking about the poor. There's many poor people. It has nothing to do with their sin per se, or stuff happens to people all the time that results in them maybe being homeless or having need for food. We want to help the needy, but we don't want to be taken advantage of. And I don't want you taken advantage of. There's a way that you can separate, the wheat from the, what's the word? The wheat from the tares. Thank you, Bob. I'm glad he's here. Bob's a good guy. Yeah, I'm getting older. Things don't always go as smooth as they used to. The wheat and the tares, I want you to be able to know when you can help somebody. It's important because when you have a giving heart, when you want to help people, the enemy is going to send people your way. Well, why would he do that? He don't want to help people. He wants to take your money. Because if you're helping people, then you're enabling them to do drugs, he loves that because he wants them to engage in that type of activity. Plus, when another need comes along that's legitimate, all of a sudden you ain't got no money in your pocket. Why? Because you helped that person that used your money to go buy crack, heroin, or alcohol. The fact is, you can buy nickel and dime bags of crack and heroin. So when you think you're only giving someone, it's only $5 or $10, that may be all they need. The fact is, you can buy small quantities of drugs. So I want you to be wise and be smart about stuff, okay? And we want to help people, and let's do it wisely. If you're a Christian, how much time we got, Bob? We're down to about 5 minutes. if you're a Christian, before we leave, let me tell you this. Don't give up praying. Don't. Remember, God answers prayer yes or no. But you don't always get if it's a yes, you may not always get the answer right then and there of what you're asking for. I bordered on bankruptcy for a decade. Why? Because my income was about $1,300 a month. And I kept praying, Lord, please help me. The stress was, and the stress got worse and worse as time went on. And I buy all my own tracts, I buy my own books, all that stuff. I've never asked for help with a ministry. But the fact is, my debt was accumulating. I couldn't no longer even hardly, all I'm paying is minimum due on a lot of credit cards. My debt was accumulating. I cried out for 10 years. Last year someone came forward, a beautiful woman who really listened. She acted and gave to me generously. I got a boss who gives to me generously. The fact is, I've gotten some help, but it was 10 years of praying. The fact is, don't give up praying. I put on a lot of weight from being sick for 10 years. Guess what? I kept praying, Lord, please help me. And then what happens? After 3 years of continually praying to help me with this, it got to the point where just about 4 months ago, all of a sudden, it came to me how to do it, and the willpower and the heart-right attitude to do it happened. Don't give up praying. Continue to pray. Pray day in, day out, and keep asking God and thanking Him for the answer. Because God hears, and He answers according to His will, and He's promised to do that. That means you can take it to the bank. He's promised to do it. Don't give up praying. God hears your prayer, and He will answer accordingly, okay? So I want to thank you for joining us. Pretty soon we're going to get into Basic Theology 101. We're going to talk about some interesting stuff. We are going to have some interesting guests. I'm asking you, please join us. If you have a question you want read on the show, then just simply email me at sage25@yahoo. On the Facebook, look for The Apologist. Ask to join. I'll let you on. And check out my videos on YouTube. Just my name, Stephen Sage, and there's only about 3 of us, so it won't be hard to find me. God bless you, and thank you so much for being part of this ministry. Amen. Good night.
Whatever happens, I'll give thanks to you. Whatever happens, I know your love will see me through. I offer my heart, see the very least I can do.